Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Cheeseheads podcast. MJ here with Mason and Chris. Before we get going on any of our planned activities for the day, Chris and I want to be mean to the intern. So there was a little trade that happened yesterday, a big trade, actually. 3-team trade that ensures Aaron Rodgers will not retire a San Francisco 49er. Mason, what are your thoughts?
I hope you go back into your concussion protocol.
Damn.
But
Okay, that's right.
So Thursday night, Mason spent 4 or 5 hours working on a mock draft that absolutely went into the toilet on Friday afternoon. Fun fact, I was at work. I work 11 to 9s on Fridays, and I come on my break and I have a bunch of notifications and everything, kind of just swipe through them all. Go on to Twitter, and Mike's like, yeah, you might want to redo that mock draft now. So I'm thinking it's my like Titan 7-round mock that I completed. Maybe they signed someone or something. Let's go back through our main chat, and I see that there was some big draft trades. So I did a 3-round mock that meant absolutely nothing now. So we had to stay up until 2 a.m. this morning, kind of redoing that, and we didn't even do the write-up yet. So instead of having my mock draft go out today, it's going to go out Monday morning. So I kind of want to run through the trade details. So first, the first one was the 49ers trading from number 12 up to number 3, giving up first and third round picks in 2022 and then a first round pick in 2023. And then the Dolphins then traded up from number 12 all the way up to number 6, using a 4th round pick this year. And then San Francisco's 22 first, and the Eagles also gave the Dolphins their 5th round pick. So, and it was essentially Philadelphia lost 6 spots, gained a next year first, and then moved up 1 round. And then Miami
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad, no.
Miami dropped 3 spots and then got a first round pick in 2023 and then a 3rd round pick next year, which is a steal. For me, there are 1 winner and 2 and a loser outside of this trade. I think a winner in this trade that wasn't involved in this was the Chargers, because now they have the 49ers are trading up for a quarterback. I think it's going to be Trey Lance. I don't know what you guys think. But for me, the Chargers win this because the 49ers, if they stand pat at 12, they can take a tackle. And now the Chargers really have no one in front of them besides Cincinnati that can take a tackle, so they're going to be getting a Rashawn Slater, Christian Darrisaw. And then the loser in this, I think you guys will both agree with me, is Carolina.
Yep.
Carolina really has no way to trade up to get their quarterback because their number 4 is Atlanta, their division rival. So Atlanta's really giving them no shot at getting their quarterback when they move up from 8. Miami's at 6 now. Detroit at 7 is going to get a king's ransom for between, say, Carolina if they really do want to move up 1 spot, Denver, or say New England. But then if Carolina loses out on their quarterback, if they really want to get Deshaun Watson, Miami has the upper hand on them now. So really, Carolina is between like Sam Darnold, Jimmy Garoppolo, which I don't think Jimmy's going to get traded this year, or say Gardner Minshew if they really want that. So, yeah.
Well, do you have 5 quarterbacks going in the top 10?
In my new mock?
Yeah.
No.
So you think are your top 4 quarterbacks?
Yes.
So it's Lawrence, Wilson, Lance, Fields?
Yeah.
And then where do you have Mac Jones going?
Let's save that for the actual mock when it comes out. But I'm kind of lower on Mac Jones, not as low, but a lot of people don't really even think he's a 1st round pick. But obviously the league's a lot higher on him. But I actually kind of want to go through the details. When I redid my mock last night into this morning, only 8 picks were different in the 1st round. I actually was kind of surprised at that. It really started with the 3rd pick. And then like 6 through 10 was different, and then 12 through 14 were different as well. So I didn't think this, but the 2nd and 3rd rounds were completely dropped on its head. I had 15 picks different in the 2nd round, and then only 3 picks were the same in the 3rd round for my original one.
Wow.
It was fun times last night. Really fun times.
Love to hear that. Poor Mason. It's okay, buddy.
It's a fun time, and you guys were just laughing at me. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
for sure. I mean, you do that to yourself. You self-proclaimed the head of draft content.
Yeah,
so you did that to yourself.
Yeah.
Slice.
It's okay. I wanted to do a mock draft, and well, you see how that works out.
It's okay. It happens. It happens.
Well, you guys will make fun of me more later, so it's fine.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we will. And by the way, if we ever do end up doing that Super Packers episode, I already told AJ and Jake how much you love that certain position in the middle of the field on defense. So AJ's just gonna like slip in that word at
linebacker jokes
when we're not even talking about linebackers. He's just gonna be like, yeah, so I really like this guy's linebacker. So just be prepared for that. And feel free to just scream at him.
Perfect. So away from the draft talk now, do you guys want to get into some free agency talk?
Yes,
let's do it.
Well, the Packers were kind of in the news again this week. I know last episode, Chris and I kind of went away from our original plan of doing our divisional breakdowns because we hadn't really planned this out, but the start of free agency was actually supposed to be on Wednesday, but we forgot that the legal tampering period was 2 days before when we were recording the podcast. So
when all the deals get signed.
So we didn't really think about that much, but Green Bay was kind of not really active, which I didn't really think was much to anyone's surprise, other than I guess Adam Silver, whatever his name is, guy from
Silver.
Same thing. Same
Adam Silver is the commissioner of the NBA, Mason.
Oh.
Yeah, wrong sport, but
but Green Bay was not active really at all besides re-signing Aaron Jones, Mercedes Lewis, and then Kevin King, which kind of set Packers Twitter on fire.
That was hilarious.
So, I agree with the move, but holy crap, a lot of Packers fans were not happy.
As long as it's a depth move and not that they plan on Kevin King to be the starter opposite Jair by the time we get to the playoffs, I'm fine with it. But if they think he's going to be the starter, then I really want to kill Goody. But,
yeah, as long as it doesn't take away from them addressing corner at the end of the first round or even in the second or third rounds, I like the move a lot. I think what's his cap hit, Mason? It's like under $2 million this year because they added.
I haven't looked because I've been so busy lately.
I want to say it's like 1.9.
Yeah, they added voidable years to the contract. But it was kind of, I don't know about you guys, it was kind of a move I was expecting all free agency long because I don't think Kevin King quite found the market that he was looking for. But over his time in Green Bay, I think there's been a lot more good than bad.
Yeah.
But I think the bad plays are so polarizing. Obviously, the Scotty Miller TD in the NFC Championship game, and then the penalty that obviously ended the Packers season. But with Kevin, I think the new defensive coordinator will be good for him as a change of scenery from Mike Pettine's system. He's still got the talent, I think, to be everyday number 2 corner in the NFL, give or take. But yeah, I didn't mind the move.
So
here's real quick. Kevin King, 1.9 this year. Salary cap. It would be 3 next year, but it's avoidable year. So as long as he's not extended after the season, it's just 1.9. He'll have a little bit of a dead cap next year, but I'm not worried about that as long as he's not on the team.
Yeah. I think back to some draft. Unfortunately, I kind of want to get back into some draft talk here, but for corner, I don't know. I think I tagged you guys in this in our main chat, but Goody was at the Florida State Pro Day.
He's been at every corner.
He's been at every pro day.
Pretty much, yeah. But I think with Asante Samuel, that's becoming more of a probably if, unfortunately, Zaven Collins might be gone by that point.
I think he'll be long gone.
I think he'll be gone. I think Miami's a good fit for him. Spoiler alert for my mock. But I think if between Asante Samuel or Greg Newsome, I'd rather have Samuel. I'd like either of them, but I'd rather have Samuel because he's more of a man guy. But for me, that's seeing Goody there was kind of like, okay, we're going to take a corner early, first round, second round, wherever.
Yeah.
So that's just it for me for the Kevin King conversation. Obviously, re-sign Mercedes Lewis, which I think we all kind of agree. Perfectly.
Yeah, an important re-signing for the run game, and obviously LaFleur loves his blocking tight end. So yeah, I think it's a great move.
And well, Green Bay actually signed someone from a different team, but it was a long snapper. So
the move we've all been waiting for.
Yeah.
Great moves.
I kind of, after the Packers, I kind of want to get into some divisional talk again, but
yeah,
obviously a lot of people on Twitter were just bashing for the Packers for re-signing Aaron Jones, not retaining Corey Linsley, re-signing Kevin King. But if you really look around the division, do you guys really think any team got better?
Looking at all the moves, not really, no.
Like maybe Minnesota, maybe. I mean, they traded for Mason Cole. Dalvin Tomlinson was a good pickup. Patrick Peterson is fine, I guess. They're trying to kind of patchwork their secondary, which Patrick Peterson isn't the same player that he used to be.
No.
I know there was a lot of people that were like, ooh, Patrick Peterson versus Devontae Adams, which if it was 2017, sure, but it's 2021 and Patrick Peterson isn't the same player.
Right.
But Minnesota also lost Anthony Harris. Odenigbo's gone.
Riley Reef.
He wasn't really much anyways.
Fair.
And then Kyle Rudolph, too, to the Giants.
Yeah, that opens up the door more for Irv Smith, which is perfect for my dynasty shares of Irv Smith.
Proud of you, Mason.
And this one.
The Lions didn't get better.
No, they're headed for
I think you kind of expected that.
Well, yeah. They're going to be even worse. The only thing that, I wish the only reason I like the Lions being average instead of absolutely sucking is it gives the Bears and the Vikings more free wins. Yeah. I would rather them all split with each other and continuously screw each other over, which is kind of what happened last year. No other team in the division dominated each other, which I enjoy. When the Lions are really bad, that gives the Bears and the Vikings 2 free wins, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I compared to their secondary last year, I think the Vikings got slightly better because they were running out all rookie corners. So,
there's a lot of
unknown
in that secondary. Yeah.
They have their good linebackers. Harrison Smith is still very good. Their defense will be okay, but I still see Rodgers carving it up. I'm not worried about that.
No.
I really think that Minnesota is another bad year away from just fully tearing everything
blowing it up. Yeah.
When does this is a question I'll ask and probably answer myself. When does Kirk Cousins get out of there?
I
think he's still got a few years left on his deal.
I think he's got a year or two. They extended him, unfortunately, one of the last 2 off seasons.
So 2022 is his last year.
So, is there an easy out after this year? Or not really.
No, his cap.
It's a pretty big dead cap hit.
Yeah, his dead cap next year is only $10 million.
So
this is the last year.
Yeah. If you really want to talk about Vikings, maybe getting one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks, then maybe. But
because his cap hit next year is $45 million.
Yeah,
Kirk is gone.
Get right out of that.
Bye.
I think we all kind of expected Chicago to do a Chicago type move, but we were kind of all expecting after the whole entire Russell Wilson trade didn't go through. I think we were all kind of like, okay, Andy Dalton's a Chicago Bear, and yep, there it was. Besides Andy Dalton, I guess the Damian Williams signing is kind of just why for me. You already have David Montgomery, you already have Tariq Cohen, who you're paying a lot of money to. I actually kind of do like the Desmond Trufant signing, but I think Chicago. Honestly, I'm sorry, Joey, and I'm blanking on the other name, but what the hell is Chicago doing? What the hell is Chicago doing?
Well, here's the thing. You bring in Andy Dalton, who bless his heart, but he couldn't win the NFC East with CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and Amari Cooper, and Ezekiel Elliott.
To be fair, that defense in Dallas is completely dumpster fire, but
100%. But still, Andy Dalton didn't even put up impressive numbers. Like, I would understand if he was doing like 75% of Dak Prescott things, right? And still losing because even Dak Prescott throwing for 5,000 yards pace couldn't win a football game with that defense. But he wasn't even doing that. So then you bring him to Chicago where Allen Robinson doesn't want to be there. And so most likely his only receiver next year is going to be Darnell Mooney because they're also shopping Anthony Miller. So you have Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet and then Jimmy Graham. What a core there.
they are still shopping Anthony Miller. So
right. And then Akeem Hicks wants out.
Basically, that's a tough contract
everyone. So then your defense is down to Khalil Mack, Raquan Smith, and Jalen Johnson, which are three very good players. But the rest of that defense, there's holes on that defense now, which there haven't been for a few years.
Who's going to play safety opposite of Eddie Jackson?
Right now they have Deion Bush there.
Yikes.
Yikes. Maybe they address it in the draft, but
MVS fly routes all day.
It just feels
against Danny Trevathan again, please.
Yes, exactly.
It feels like the Bears are stuck in neutral. Like
they are in football purgatory.
Couple steps forward, and then they take 3 steps back, and they're just stuck being like the Bears, right?
They needed to blow it up this offseason, and they did not. So I mean,
they will blow it up. Because most likely this is the last year of Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy.
It should have been the last year this year.
It should have. But, my only concern if I were a Bears fan would be what crazy thing is Ryan Pace going to do to try to save his job and absolutely destroy our future.
Ryan Pace is going to...
Ryan Pace on my live show as a Bears fan, and he's like, the Bears need to trade up to go get they need to go get Justin Fields. And I'm
they aren't ready
to not a quarterback away, and you are going to mortgage your future and then have nothing to support a Justin Fields or someone like that with. I'm please, by all means, go for it.
If the Bears trade up from 20 to 4, or say they can't trade up to 7 because that's Detroit's pick.
Yeah.
If 4 is the only option, and you're trading your next 3 firsts, probably your next 3 seconds, you're not doing that. If you're a Bears fan and you're happy with that, I don't know what to tell you at all. You're not a quarterback away. You still need offensive line help. You need defensive line help now that Hicks is gone. Desmond Trufant's your second corner. You don't have a slot corner. You don't have another safety outside of Eddie Jackson. You don't have a receiver besides Mooney. If you really want to trade up that far, go right ahead. As a Packer fan, go for it. Please. Yeah.
Just quickly for quarterbacks, like who does that leave there for their pick? Like, is it Kyle Trask? Because I think Mac Jones is going to be gone.
Mac Jones is going to be either gone at 8 if Carolina really wants to take him, or in between that 15 range to New England, which again, I don't think New England's going to be staying in that spot.
No.
I think that it's really between like Carolina, and then if you really want to stay New England, if they don't trade up, and then Oakland, Las Vegas is kind of a sneaky one because Gruden's blowing everything up. And then Washington, which I think Washington is going to be probably a trade up for Jones if he stays that long, which leaves Chicago with Trask or Kellen Mond if you really want to have him.
Kellen Mond. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's another thing. AJ on the other show is obsessed with Kellen Mond. Like unhealthy amounts obsessed with Kellen Mond. To the point where he is prepared for the Packers to draft him in like the 3rd or 4th round.
I actually, going back to the whole entire, I know this is really off subject again, but
it happens.
The trade details of this recent stuff from yesterday. How happy does it make you guys that the Packers only gave up a 4th round pick to get Jordan Love?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know.
I was thinking that last night.
Well, I know Chris doesn't like him. Chris doesn't want him around, but
he's getting back. Remember last week?
I've braced for the fact that he is the future and he's going to be the leader of the Packers. So
We got him. We got him, MJ.
Chris, can you say that again, please?
I've braced myself, fellas, but when the time comes, the time comes. But yeah, I'm ready.
That's wonderful. Oh, we forgot about the amazing signing of Mario Edwards Jr. for the Bears.
That's your team
suspended right now.
That's almost as good as their Robert Quinn for $80 million last year.
Oh my gosh. And the fact that Jimmy Graham is still on their roster.
He had an enormous cap hit this year. I don't know what. Yeah.
Oh, really?
What the hell is Chicago doing? You drafted in the second round and you still have Jimmy Graham on the roster. What are you doing?
They still have a bunch of tight ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Then they lose, obviously, Fuller and Robertson Harris, who are two pretty integral parts of that defense.
Robertson Harris is going to be missed, especially with Hicks kind of wanting out. I know Eddie Jackson's kind of upset too because he was like, okay, everyone's just leaving. Oh, yeah. MJ's looking at the cap hit for Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham, 35 years old, can no longer jump higher than 6 inches off a regulation ball field, has a cap hit of $10 million.
Wow. Oh, Chicago.
Yeah. All right, well.
Robert Tonyan wouldn't even have that big of a cap. Oh, my word.
Let's stop making fun of the Bears for a minute. I know on the last podcast, Chris was kind of enamored by all the signings going on. I was kind of just trying to get it through the whole entire divisional roundup, which didn't really work because, again, Chargers just signed Corey Linsley in the middle of it. And for some reason in the video, Mason kind of screamed at his Xbox friends on the video, which didn't get cut out, MJ.
Dude, that was funny.
But
that's why I didn't cut it out because it was funny.
But who do you guys? Okay, we're trending with like Chicago. Who do you guys think had the worst free agency period?
In the division or around the whole league?
Around the whole entire league.
That's tough. Yeah.
I would be between the Raiders and the Titans.
Yeah, the Titans lost.
Titans completely reshaped their quarterback room. They lost Corey Davis. They lost Jonnu Smith. Traded their first round pick last year for scraps, and then he got released by the Dolphins 3 days into his tenure there. So
they're not going to have much on offense next year.
No.
They are. Fun fact: they're one of the teams trading up in my mock. But
for the best, you can look at what the Bucs did, bringing back every integral piece of that Super Bowl team, and they're ready to run it back next year. I didn't think they're going to get all those guys under contract.
I think you guys know who I'm going to say had the best free agency period.
Cleveland?
Yep.
And Mason, how does that make you feel?
When you sign my top 2 players who are like third-tier players, Rashard Higgins and Anthony Walker for a combined $5.5 million, makes me kind of upset.
And then they get John Johnson too.
You also get Troy Hill, you get Josh Johnson, you get Takk McKinley on a 1-year prove-it deal, you get Malik Jackson. Yeah, you're doing pretty good, and you're probably one of the top 3-4 teams in the AFC now. So,
do you think they're the favorites to win the AFC North next year?
Honestly, yeah. Because Baltimore's kind of in that situation. Baltimore's needs are so glaring. They're going to need
Watkins, wide receiver number 1.
Sammy Watkins and Marquise Brown are literally
Marquise Brown, yeah.
They have all of Baltimore's receivers are either fast or like downfield threats, or they're slot guys. They don't have a big body guy. So, I mean, Rashad Bateman, there you go at the end of the first round. Or, dear God, please take Trace Marshall so that the Packers don't even think about it. Please, I am begging you. Chris, don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. But Baltimore has needs on the interior of the offensive line. They need a right tackle now because Orlando Brown thinks that left tackle is.
Play left tackle, yeah.
They need edge rusher help. They need a second safety. They need a lot of stuff. I think Pittsburgh lost a lot too. Half their cornerback room's gone. Their offensive line is 33, 34, 35 all across the board.
And
So,
Roethlisberger, like, he is what he is at this point.
Yeah. I think it should have been time for Pittsburgh just to hit the
Move
reset
on,
button.
yeah.
But I think Cleveland is really the top tier of that division now. Other than Cleveland, obviously, Washington had a really good free agency. That was what they needed. Curtis Samuel, William Jackson, Fitzpatrick, obviously. It's between like Cleveland, Washington, and then the Chargers for me. Chargers really just reshaped their whole entire offensive line. If they get their left tackle, their offensive line is pretty much set.
And then obviously you look at what the Patriots did in handing out all those massive money contracts that you can't really grade it yet because of all the money they had. That's kind of what you grade 2 to 3 years down the road with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry and Judon. But yeah, I think the teams you hit on obviously had the best periods.
For me, how do you justify paying Nelson Aguilar what you did, and then
That was a bad deal.
What Corey Davis and Curtis Samuel got, and it's less per year than what you gave Aguilar. I mean, I'm fine with the Kendrick Bourne signing. That was another guy that I wanted the Packers to sign. I didn't think he'd get that much though. But how do you really justify signing Nelson Aguilar for $11 million per year, whatever it was, when the Jets signed Corey Davis for less, and then Curtis Samuel goes for less to Washington.
And then the Jags got Marvin Jones for what, 7.5?
Let's also mention the fact that the Jaguars paid $7 million per year for a return man. So,
Charlotte Brady.
I mean, let's be honest. The Packers would probably do that too.
No, they would spend a $3 million contract on a third fullback.
Yeah.
Damn. You got me there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Also, maybe it's just me, but I would not have paid the price that the Giants paid for Kenny Golladay.
Yeah.
Coming off of an injury.
That was a lingering injury all year too.
Right. And he was getting the ball fed to him by Matthew Stafford. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Daniel Jones is not very good at throwing the football.
He's not. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
he's not.
and especially compared to Matthew Stafford. And I don't think that's been because of weapons. Yeah, so congrats to Kenny for getting his bag. But, not the best move in the world by the Giants.
I don't. If I was the Giants, I would have traded up for one of the quarterbacks. But obviously, Gettleman being Gettleman, he thinks that Daniel Jones is the future when
Jones is his guy, yeah.
He's really good at football. Well, he's good at running the football. He's not good at throwing the football.
And then he's good at falling down.
Yes. But for me, you also signed William Jackson, or did they, right? Which corner did they sign?
Can't remember.
Hold up.
But quickly with Golladay, a 4-year deal for a guy who's 28, going to be 29, who's struggled to stay on the field over the past couple of years. And obviously, the talent is there, but like you said, where the Giants are kind of at with where Jones is or where the rest of their roster is, it was a very weird move.
It was a Dory Jackson.
Oh, perfect. Which, fine. I'm getting all these corners mixed up that are going to the same division, I guess. But
yeah, so now they're Bradbury, Peppers, Logan Ryan, and Dory Jackson.
And then
secondary.
You have Darnay Holmes in the slot too, which is fine. I think their secondary is good. They need a pass rusher. They need.
And you know who they have anchoring that defense? Your favorite linebacker, Blake Martinez. That's going to be it for the Cheeseheads today.
And there he goes.
Or Mason. I had to.
I don't like Blake Martinez as it is, but he matches
I know
so much more than he did our system. I mean, I guess somehow he must have gained some sort of athletic ability, I guess, in the 3 months that he left the Packers, which whack, but
not really.
I mean, he looked better, but it's still annoying that he somehow just put it all together and find some sort of athletic ability when he had absolutely nothing in Green Bay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I also want to talk about who. I think it's kind of interesting. I mentioned the Chargers earlier. Like how much different like some GMs go about free agency. Like obviously Packers are just draft and develop. They don't really spend much in free agency. And then
Colts.
I think it's kind of interesting to see like if you look at Indianapolis and then the Chargers, both had top 10 money. The Chargers, who have a quarterback on a rookie contract, shovel out some money to get some offensive line help. And then the Colts, who had top 3-4 money in free agency, didn't spend it on like anyone besides bringing back T.Y. Hilton. And I follow a lot of Colts people on Twitter because I was the Colts reporter throughout the year. They're my second favorite team just because I love Chris Ballard. I love both Chris Ballard and Tom Telesco. But for Ballard, it's like you have all that cap room, but he's looking towards the future. Yeah. You have Nelson, you have on a 5th-year option that you're going to have to give him for next year. You're going to have to give him an enormous contract. Darius Leonard, Braden Smith, all those guys need new contracts after this next year. So that is why that Ballard is just – I love what Ballard does. It's like as a person, you see him like at the end of the press conference after this year it was something about – a reporter asked him something about like a quarterback and if they were going to draft one. He's like, yeah, sure, but – you can't be the first one. You guys will be the first one to like congratulate me, but you guys will be the first just bash me when he throws an interception in a preseason game or whatever. I love.
There's a reason Ballard's thought of when you think of the best executives in the game. He's not one to hand out bad contracts historically. The Colts are usually a team to build through the draft and acquire talent that way and re-sign their own, and it's usually why they're among the premier teams in the AFC.
I'm also willing to bet I'm willing to bet loads of money that Indianapolis trades down from 21 in the draft. So
100%.
So they lost their 3rd round pick to Philly in that Carson Wentz trade. So one of those 1st or 2nd round picks, I'm guessing the 1st round pick is going to get traded.
And they're going to lose their 1st next year likely. So.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, you're starting quarterback for the future now. So, I kind of I want to take a second. It's also like similar to Chicago. What is Philadelphia doing?
Me, bro. I don't know.
Like you had Jamar Chase in the bag.
Yep.
In the bag, unless Cincinnati decides, oh hey, you have another receiver, Joe Burrow, instead of an offensive lineman, which
could have Kyle Pitts in the bag, depending on how the draft goes.
I think Atlanta's going to take Pitts right now. They can't get out of Ryan's contract. So unless they get every draft team sends up a bunch of draft capital, then they're taking Kyle Pitts. But Philadelphia had Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
I get that you're getting a 1st round pick next year, but who are you getting at 12 that is – I mean, you could still get Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. You could get J.C. Horn, but – you had Jamar Chase.
I don't know. I guess just stockpiling more picks and trying to rebuild that roster is where the Eagles are at right now.
Did you guys see that? Like they tried trading up to like 2 or 3 or whatever because they wanted Zach Wilson, and then when they didn't get that opportunity, they're like, "Yeah, we're trading back now." Like, what is going on there?
Also, it's still a month before the draft, and these idiots are trading like it's draft night.
I mean. You kind of have to at this point because there's so many quarterback needy teams right now.
Fair.
Everyone's trying to trade up, like all that. I mean, it's kind of similar to what the Jets and the Colts did the one year for the Jets to get Darnold, and look what the Jets have to do right now. They're getting Zach Wilson. I mean, the draft starts at 3 right now. I mean, especially after Zach Wilson's pro day yesterday.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I think it starts at 4.
Who do you think? I mean, you're between 2 players for San Francisco.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Justin Fields.
I agree.
You guys are leading me. I'm in the minority this time. Whoa.
I look at what Fields is and the kind of system that Kyle Shanahan is trying to run. I think it's a perfect fit. Maybe that's just me, but I think Lance is going to, depending on what Atlanta does, he's the interesting factor in this draft.
I don't think San Francisco wants a project.
No.
The thing is with Lance is For me, he's not really a project. I mean, yeah, he is in the right system, in the wrong system. He's a project, but if there's a scheme that you want Trey Lance to go to, it is San Francisco. You have your like read option, your first read, everything like that, and he won't have to start right away this year. Garoppolo's there, unless a quarterback gets injured in preseason, you can ship him off there. But
then why are you trading up to 3 if you're still going to start Garoppolo? That makes no sense.
Yeah, that makes.
I mean, fair point, but who has the most upside in this class between Fields and Lance? And it's Lance, to me anyway. But you've already between the Lance and the Fields thing, Lance has already had his pro day. Fields has not. So you already pretty much have everything you're going to get with Lance that you're going to see out of him this year besides interviews, which whatever. Mm-hmm. They've already probably had interviews with both. So if you're already trading up, it's a sign to me that you have everything pretty much done with Trey Lance, and you still have room for like growth for what you need for your eval with Justin Fields. So for me, and again, I understand the fact that you guys don't really understand like the whole entire, like, why are you trading up to 3 if Garoppolo's staying? But Lance needs a year.
Yeah.
But also, San Francisco doesn't take like any hit if you get rid of Garoppolo after this year.
It's amazing how quickly Garoppolo fell out of being the guy in San Francisco.
Look at like the whole entire NFC West. They had the whole entire Russell Wilson thing's kind of spiraling. Now Matthew Stafford's the Rams quarterback, and
Kyler Murray with Arizona.
The whole entire Rosen to Murray thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of wild, which I still don't really agree with. But MJ, you're kind of smiling. What are you smiling about?
I saw something on Twitter yesterday that was a picture of Jimmy Garoppolo, and it was the quote on the right, "Josh is our guy," and then it was crossed out, "Jimmy is our guy," and then Kyle Shanahan. It's like, of course they're going to say Jimmy is their guy when he's the one under contract and they've not actually drafted another quarterback yet. But the second they get a 3rd overall pick in there, Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to play. Maybe he plays a couple games, but the second he has one bad game, whether it's Justin Fields, Trey Lance, I don't give a crap who it is. The second Jimmy Garoppolo has a bad game, it doesn't matter how much money he's making. Kyle Shanahan is going to make that switch because of organizational pressure, fan pressure, pressure from within his own head. That's just the way it works. That's why it's so rare what the Packers are doing, actually sitting Jordan Love for at least what appears to be 2 years. Because that's just not how it goes. So I don't care if they say Jimmy's their guy. I don't care how much money he's making. When you move up to 3, seemingly to draft a quarterback, then he is going to play very quickly. Unless Jimmy Garoppolo has a freaking MVP season, whoever they draft at 3 is going to play pretty quickly.
Are you comparing Jimmy Garoppolo to Aaron Rodgers there by saying MVP?
Yeah, but basically I was like, unless Jimmy Garoppolo goes Aaron Rodgers on the league, which I don't think he physically has that capable in him.
What do you guys think the trade market looks like for Jimmy Garoppolo?
It's really, there's one place. I think we all know that place.
New England.
If New England, like we were talking about this last night, like Mike, Jack, and I, because Jack's a Patriots fan, like, would you rather send a second or 3rd round pick to San Francisco for Garoppolo? Or are you trading 1st round pick this year, 1st round pick next year, like a 2 or a 3, any of the next, whichever may be, a 2 this year, a 3 this year, a 2 next year, whatever, to get a Lance or a Justin Fields? Which are you taking? You already really know what Garoppolo is, but you don't. There's so much upside with Fields or Lance. Like, which are you wanting to take there?
The thing about Garoppolo is that's a massive cap hit for a guy who's struggled to stay on the field, man. The knee injury, the ankle. He's missed a lot of time for a guy I think is going to make almost $27 million next year.
It's like Jack said, he'd rather have Lance or Fields than Garoppolo, and that's giving up. That's giving up your 1st round pick next year, and then either your 2nd or 3rd round pick this year, and a 2nd or 3rd round pick next year too, to move up to probably 7.
Because I think with Garoppolo and leading it back to San Francisco, these teams kind of know what Garoppolo is at this point. Whereas Fields and Lance, you kind of see the talent they have, and you can kind of bring them in and mold them to be maybe a little more upside than what Garoppolo can bring you. Obviously, you saw in that Chiefs-Niners Super Bowl, he kind of internally held the Niners back from winning it all.
Now watch this all just not matter when Detroit takes like Trey Lance or something.
Yeah.
That's the draft, I guess. But going back to like Garoppolo, what do you think's like going through like Garoppolo's head right now? Like, are you going to John Lynch? Are you going to Kyle Shanahan? Like, I kind of want to compare this. I know it's kind of cheesy, but in draft day when Cleveland trades up from 6 or whatever to 1, and Brian Drew like trashes the GM's office and everything, like, what is Garoppolo doing right now? Like, is he saying trade me? What is he doing?
I think there's definitely a conversation probably being had about what the plan is with that third overall pick. The Niners did not move up all the way to 3 to not take a quarterback. Yeah,
they were having a conversation.
A conversation's being had, I think, between Garoppolo, Shanahan, and John Lynch about kind of what the future holds for him as a San Francisco 49er, because obviously Fields, Lance, at 30 years old, Garoppolo's not going to stick around and back up either one, I don't think. So I think potential trade options are definitely being pondered.
But where else besides New England?
That's the thing.
Like, there's nowhere.
Chicago, Washington.
Chicago's going to be in that. Chicago's going to be in that same just quarterback purgatory where they're trying to always like.
I'm just trying to throw at possible teams that need quarterbacks, but yeah, there's not a lot.
I mean, I guess you could maybe say like a Pittsburgh, but I think they would be more in on Darnold than anything.
And no one's trading for that contract is the other thing you have to consider.
I mean, New England is pretty much the only team that like needs a quarterback that has the cap space to do so.
But do they now?
They still do, yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure how much cap space they
still have like 22, 25, something like that. Which
do you guys see Bill Belichick bringing Garoppolo back?
He wanted Garoppolo to Brady, so I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think he 100% would. I think it just mostly depends on how much he'd have to give up. I don't think he's going to sell the farm for Garoppolo. No. Otherwise, he would have already done it.
Yeah, like the conversation we had earlier. Like, are you wanting to send your second or third round pick for Garoppolo, or are you wanting to shoot for the stars and hope that Trey Lance or Justin Fields is like a, dare I say, Watson or Mahomes or something like that? Like, you already know what you're getting with Garoppolo, so I mean, I guess, but if you get Garoppolo, that means New England can get like a trade up for like a Jalen Waddle or someone in the draft that get him Micah Parsons, Jalen Waddle. They can go best player available pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of like, that kind of like wraps up the whole entire like Garoppolo thing, I think.
Yeah. For the most part.
You guys want to talk about anything else, or do we want to kind of?
Last thing I want to talk about is how are your March Madness brackets doing?
Yikes. That's all I'm gonna say.
I didn't fill one out this year. I actually kind of wanted to like fill one out for like to try to get like every game wrong. Yeah, I would have done like a lot better than most people this year if I was actually trying to do it.
I just gotta say my Final Four and I think 7 of my Elite 8 are still in. So I'm looking fine. I think I have Gonzaga to beat Baylor in the final, and then my Final Four I have Gonzaga, Alabama, Baylor, and Illinois. And Illinois out. So I'm not looking horrible, but I got locked in on some Cinderella stories this year. Like I took Colgate to go to the Sweet 16. And I had Winthrop to beat Villanova. I picked Ohio to beat Virginia, which I'm pretty proud of. But
good job, Chris.
Yeah, not in horrible shape, but not great.
Yeah, I have Houston winning, so I'm still chilling, give or take. But well, yeah, my family just moved to Dallas, so I'm like, I'll pick a Texas team.
I think it's still quickly, Gonzaga's tournament to lose. Watching the Zags play,
They never win though.
They never win. Though, you're right.
Disappoint. I don't care that they're undefeated. They got Mr. Mellow dome to the head. Like it does not matter. They are going to lose.
Yeah, they usually find a way to blow it.
I promise you, Gonzaga will not win. I don't know how they're going to lose. They're going to find some way to screw it up. I don't even – who are they playing in this round? Because they'll probably lose to them. Creighton. That is a perfect
way for the Zags
story for Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Number 5 Creighton walks in and just hands it to them. Gonzaga is favored by 14 points. And they are going to get absolutely destroyed. I'm calling it now. The Creighton Blue Jays, number 19 in the country.
Shout out to MJ's home state, but how about Loyola Chicago? Oh man, do they look good.
Sister Jean, 101 years old, bringing the scouting reports in the pregame prayer too.
Man, they're well coached. They play good defense. Like they're going to be a tough out for anyone.
I just saw your message, Chris. I fully kept on talking to Mason like we were still recording.
You did. I had to tell him, like, Chris, we're not recording. He's gone.
If you guys couldn't tell from my poor editing job, I lost power for like 30 seconds in the middle of this, and so my computer turned off. Chris just kept talking, even though I'm the one recording, which meant he was not recording.
I was like, if we have to record all this again, I'm going to freak out.
Finish my point.
I wouldn't have time. I gotta be somewhere at 1:30.
It's only 12:02. You're fine.
But I need. I work at 1:30. Like I need food. I need to.
What is eating? Up. What is eating? I don't do that.
Culver's. That's what eating is.
Pretty
much.
All
right, that's enough for today.
Okay, folks. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, subscribing. Make sure to check out some of the other shows we got on the YouTube channel. We got other good stuff going on. Some of them also including Mason. So if you really enjoy watching Mason get made fun of, go watch some of our other shows and you will find that there. Gentlemen, any last words?
Nope. Good stuff today, boys.
Go back into your concussion protocol, please.
Okay. Love you too. Okay. So we're adding this at the end. Joe Heller, right?
Yes.
One of the writers on our site. He does 3 burning questions for every NFL team at the beginning of the season, and he's answering them all now. And as we're finishing up and just BSing at the end of our show, the Packers ones came out. So we're going to run through those real quick. The first question was, is this the beginning of the end? And by that, he meant team drafted Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers didn't have a good season last year by Aaron Rodgers standards. Is this going to be the beginning of the end? What do you think, boys? Is it the beginning of the end?
I think judging on how they haven't touched Rodgers' deal yet in the offseason, I think this is the beginning of the end for his time at Green Bay.
Despite what Michael Silver, I got it right that time. Despite what Michael Silver says, I don't think that the contract's going to be touched. If it hasn't already, it's not going to be. So
I agree. I mean, they didn't touch his 3rd day of the league year bonus. They're not going to mess with his salary, I don't think.
Judging by what they did in free agency, bringing back Jones, King, I think they're going to try and run it back one last year, give their best chance at returning to the NFC Championship game, and ultimately getting to a Super Bowl before they move on from Rodgers.
I brought this up to Chris last week when MJ wasn't here, but the biggest question for me is, what does this now cause this year? Like, Rodgers knows he's not the future. Love knows that after this year he's a starter. What does that do to the locker room?
Nothing. I don't really think.
I don't think. Maybe it has a little bit of an impact, but I think the guys just want to go out there and play football ultimately, right? Give it their best chance at winning the Super Bowl this year, and they'll let the future dictate what the future's going to dictate, would be my.
Yeah, I mean, you have Aaron Rodgers, like he's going to command their respect. He's going to lead that team. Inside that locker room, it's Aaron Rodgers until told otherwise. So I don't think that's going to be much of a worry. I think they should be fine on that sense. So second question, can Aaron Jones move further up the ranks among league running backs? Was the question at the beginning of the season. So Joe says Jones followed up his first 1,000-year rushing season by rushing for a career high 1,104 yards, added another 355 receiving, and combined 11 touchdowns. Got himself a nice big contract. I think Aaron Jones is one of the best. I wouldn't even classify him as a running back. He's a weapon.
Playmaker.
He can do pretty much anything you need. That's what he said.
Touchdown scorer, yeah.
That's what he said in his return press conference yesterday. He's like, I'm the second most important position on the field because I can do everything. And I was like, you right. I mean, he rivaled McCaffrey in 2019 for touchdowns. And then last year he scored a bunch more. I think he got some taken away from him by Tunyon and stuff like that. But dang, I am happy to have him back. That is hard production to replace.
I'm happy with the contract a lot more than it was when it came out because it's team friendly all the way. So it's 2 years and you get an easy out. So fine by me, which was the plan I thought was going to happen all along, and I'm fine with it.
The Packers kept a really good football player who's a threat to take it to the end zone every time he touches the ball. And his receiving skills out of the backfield, just everything he does for the team, it can't be rivaled. And he's definitely moved up further to, I'd say, top 5 at his position.
And finally, we have what about the defense? 16 and a half sacks, and Za'Darius had 12 of them from the Smith brothers. Jair, first Pro Bowl appearance as a corner. Here's what I've been saying. So the Packers have 10 picks in the draft, right? As long as they use 5 of those on the defense and 1 of those in the first 2 rounds, I am happy. And 1 of those in the first 2 rounds should be corner or linebacker. Sorry to trigger you, Mason. But as long as that's kind of the mold that they follow, I'm okay with that. If they start going crazy and for some reason for the first time in forever decide to go offense like 3 times early, then I'll get a little pissed off. I don't think that's going to happen. But they need to use their draft capital and prioritize defense. And if they do that, I think their defense will be all right. Their defense doesn't have to be top 3 to go win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. Top 10, probably. But I think we can easily get there. We've been sitting around 15. Let's bring it up a little bit, and then we'll be all right.
Yeah, you have like great players at each level. You have Kenny Clark, you have Za'Darius Smith, you have Jair, you have Amos, and you have Savage. You're missing that second level guy, obviously, but you'd like some help opposite of Jair. You'd like another guy to go with Kenny Clark, which might be Kingsley Keke.
Definitely,
yeah. It might be Keke because he showed out pretty good last year in the games he played. But it's really just you need just help for Jair, and then you need a guy in the middle that can man the defense. Which are we going to get that? I don't really know at this point, but. The defense is what it is. It's middle of the league. It might be 12, wherever. If it goes below 20, that's when I start to worry.
Yeah. I think Rashawn Gary quickly had a really good back half of the season too. He showed some pretty good pass rushing reps, so I think he's going to be a piece for years to come. I don't know what you guys think, but
yeah, I mean that's kind of why we all thought that Preston Smith wasn't coming back. So
yeah,
I mean, an added guy in the rotation is never a bad thing. Especially if Preston puts it together like he did in 2019. If you can somehow get all 3 of those guys on the field at one time with Kenny Clark in the middle, and then, I mean, who's going to stop them? Is my guess, but no one. For me, spoiler alert, but 2 of the 4 picks in my 3-round mock draft for the Packers are on defense. So
I think if they get a really good, competent number 2 corner, this defense can take a big step forward.
Competent. I mean, I use that word for our linebackers, but not for our second corner.
not Pro Bowl, just competent. Where shout out Kevin King. All right.
Anyway, so everything I said before. Thank you for watching. Yeah, that was our little addition bloopers at the end, if you will. So subscribe. Follow the channel, all that good stuff. And we will see you next week with a little super episode that's going to cause some chaos. So be on the lookout for that.